We're going to start out with a brief story. So I'm from Iowa. I grew up as a farm kid. And every weekend, our grandmother, Virginia, would cook for us. And we remember this experience of how the food was just perfect. And you knew it was safe, and you knew it was from their very own farm. So this is what we're trying to bring to everybody. So, hello, my name is Keith Heyer, and
I'm Adi Banti.
And we're going to talk through SourceTable. And, we're not selling you here. We want to talk about the business and how we've, the why of why we're focusing here and what we're trying to do and, what the experience has been like so far. We're 38 days in. So, some quick facts.
We launched just 38 days ago. And we're handling retail meat sales for Slagle Family Farm and Fairbury Farms. And Slagle Family Farm is actually one of the most well-known farms for premium meats in the whole state. And we're selling nationwide with home delivery, and we founded it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did find it. So for those of you who haven't met Adi, he doesn't sleep. So you're meeting, he looks like he's awake. He is. He doesn't sleep. A lot of energy, and it's a pretty good duo that we've got here. And in fact, at Trio, we have one of our partners is our customer service agent, and she kicks butt. So it's been fun so far. So a bit of a why. So the why is important for us because this is really how we've gotten ourselves started. I think the first that you've come to appreciate is the meat itself.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's not like you can't just go to a grocery store and get a steak like the one that you're going to get from Slagle Family Farm. They're all raised in different ways, and I think another part of the satisfaction is knowing exactly where it came from, so you know it's safe and you know the face behind it.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring people an experience of really getting to know the true flavor of meat, true quality, having some good choices. And in many ways, like I grew up on a farm, and we always had a freezer full of pork and a freezer full of beef, and you could always go and get what you want. And people have asked, how do they get that same experience here? So we wanted to be able to connect people to really their meat, where they could get it, and know exactly where it comes from. So, a quick little picture. First, we have some really good offerings, and we want to continue to highlight some of the best craft meat offerings that people have throughout the nation. Second, just connecting to your sources of your food. So, there's some things that I've traditionally bought at the grocery store, and it's just where you go. But what we really want to know is where exactly are you getting this, and are you comfortable with what you're getting in the first place? So we want to make sure that we build some relationships, some visibility and transparency to your farmer, to the source, and you get to know them, you get to know their protocols, how they're raising. Maybe GMO is important to you, maybe it's not. You have to just really get to know exactly the farmer that you have and what their choices are on how they raise their animals. And to avoid things like the scares. We want to have you be comfortable to know where you're getting it, and we can track it back exactly. And last, protect the viability of our American farmers and ranchers. So you see a lot of consolidations, family farms getting swallowed up. I saw a similar thing back in the mid-'80s when many of our neighbors were losing their farms. We want to be able to protect this. As an example, if you look at a cattle lot that's out there in any given state, that animal is being raised for about 2 to 3 years, depending on how they're raising it. That farmer is probably making around $100 an animal. There's a lot of risks they're taking on, not a lot of profitability. We believe we can bring these farmers 3 to 5 times that return without having to fundamentally change how they operate their business. So we are trying to help sustain some independence for our farmers and ranchers.
So I think we add value to 2 different groups of people. One is the customer, and then the other is the farmer and ranchers that supply us. So I think to the customer, obviously you get the best craft meats, Another benefit, learning about your farmer and knowing exactly where it comes from. And we believe in total transparency, so all protocols and methods that the farmers use, you'll know. And another thing that a lot of our competitors don't do, they use warehouses and consolidation places. We don't do that. It ships straight from the farmer. And right now, if you order something, it could just be butchered like a couple days before you get it. Also, direct home delivery and exceptional customer experience. That's
Yep.
the key thing.
Yep. And then for our farmers and ranchers, so if I think about the way we grew up, we wanted to just raise our animals. So many farmers are trying to figure out how they can, modernize and connect with a customer base. We can help do that. We can, bring them online. We can help highlight their products, promote their brand. So you'll see some other offerings that are out there where people are trying to do something similar, but you actually don't know who you're getting it from. It's a cool looking box, but you're not sure what's in there in the first place or where it comes from. So we are helping our farmers and helping their brands. And you know specifically the farm it goes to, and you could go visit that farm, and they could take you right to the processing facility of where it's cut up as well. Want to improve the profitability. We do have some expertise with how we do, the cuts, bundling, packaging. And you think about, since this is a home delivery business, we have some scale and some efficiency with how we do shipping as well. Whereas a farmer wants to do this on their own, they're having to take on all these capabilities and figuring out how to do that. So our plan.
So this is our plan coming up. So we want to demonstrate our value to customers and grow relationships. So we don't want it to be like the factory system. We want to make sure that we can build some sort of a relationship with everyone who works with us or buys from us. We want to sharpen our messaging so that people know exactly who we are. Add more farmers and unique offerings. So we plan to add more and more farmers as time goes on, but it's a long process because we want to make sure we have only the best farmers. And we're going to start working on automating non-value added activities like fulfilling orders and making shipping labels for the farmers. And we want to shift from just a site to a marketplace for premium level farmers so you can go on and see so many farmers and you can just pick exactly what you want.
Yeah. And this, the plan, obviously we're 38 days in, so we've been learning as we go here. We'll talk through a bit here in the feedback that we had, but, some of these pieces are really important. This sharpening the message is something I think you just can never quite perfect, and we want to keep getting better and better at this. Because as we start looking at the feedback in the first 38 days, we had a really good high energy launch, and our customers are giving us a try. We have actually been surprised at the orders we've had. It's like, okay, great, this is nice. These orders are coming in. But the feedback that we have is really what's awesome. I mean, the products, and we picked a premium offering, so that's been the really good feedback. We weren't expecting the wow from the customer service standpoint, but many of these, a lot of our business are things like custom requests and special things like a suckling lamb that's being shipped out during Christmas time to Manhattan, or one of these huge bone-in prime ribs that someone had for Thanksgiving that we cut that day, shipped that day, fresh, just on ice packs. I mean, these are things that we could do that, as we've started to learn, that it gives us the ability to adjust our business and offer things that we didn't think we could. But again, using this experience that we have, now we need to figure out how we make sure the message is tight and people know what the positive experience can look like. We also think some of our farmer and supplier partnerships are a huge advantage for us, and we need to make sure that we can continue to use those things as well. And I've heard other people say, if you're an entrepreneur, more ideas than available time. Dang, we've started to run into that already, and it's just a matter of trying to focus on what we work on first and not let ourselves diverge too far from center.
So just like every other business, we do have quite a few things to work on. One goal, and I think a lot of us share the same common goal, is to reach more customers. So right now we're working on marketing and things like that, but we want to make sure we can reach as many people as possible so that people know who we are and they can see our message and hopefully become a customer. We also want to start leveraging our testimonials. So we have received quite a bit of great feedback, and we want to be able, we're still trying to find a way to use this to our advantage in the best way. We also want to standardize farmer agreements, so we've just started working on that. So obviously, when you're working with the farmer, you want to make sure the entire work list and things to do and liability, everything is clear, and we want to standardize it so all of our farmers get the same exact deal. And obviously automation, I think we talked about that before, but we want to start automating things that aren't value added to our business.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So with that, that's our prepared content, and this is where we welcome lots of good questions.
You mentioned that you're 38 days out from the launch. How much time before the launch did you spend on this project?
So together we spent 4 months on it. So it was an idea that had been worked on maybe around a year before, of just starting to sketch out what could be done. And my initial goal was figuring out how we can create more transparency and help our farmers. And then as I started to dig into it, I realized that farmers really need help on the front end first, as in selling to the customers, and then that enables you to build in the transparency and the visibility to the whole supply chain. You've got to start from the front first and work your way back. So it was 4 months as we got started, and it never felt more real than once we had our agreement set up with Slagle Family Farm, and then once you make a commitment to your very best partner, dang, then you have to get going a lot faster. So that put the pressure on us.
At that point, it was basically every day there was some deadline, and it kind of got pushed, and we had to just keep working because we kind of made that agreement, and we had a lot to get done before we could actually start. So that was when it started feeling real, like you said.
Yeah.
How did you get the farms on board?
So with Slagle, the first time I called them, I was just kind of walking through like who we are and what we do, and they're just like, no, we're not interested. This is just not our thing. Shipping costs too much. So I said, we actually can get special rates. So I didn't know if we could get special rates at this time. So I said we could get special rates, and they're like, okay. And then they're like, so would we have to provide the boxing, or would you guys decide what box sizes and things you want? Because I think shipping was their main concern. And I said, if you guys want to, you guys can provide the boxes, but we can figure out how to do it. We didn't really talk about this before either, but eventually, after enough like twisting around, I think it. Also, it's not really twisting around, because working with Slagle has actually helped us nail down our business model 100%, and I think you would agree with that.
Absolutely.
So we finally agreed to go down there and meet with them, and after meeting with them, Louis John, who's the owner, he's a really skeptical kind of guy, but he had a lot of questions, and I think we were able to answer them. And after that, in our second meeting, they were all super welcoming and ready to work together. So it just took a lot of talking and figuring things out so that we can nail down.
Yeah, in all practical purposes, we started out with a list that we had researched during the summer of who would be good farms to focus on. Slagle was on the list, but they didn't need us. They have a very premium offering. They supply the best restaurants in Chicago. They supply some incredible butcher shops. But once we met with them, this was a problem that they've been trying to solve for around 10 years. How do you focus on, let's say, a retail customer base that's home delivery? And you started to realize when we were talking that we actually can solve a lot of problems for them, because we're approaching it from a different way. We can be a little more nimble and adjust. And dang, Louis John is bringing us more ideas than we know what to do with. One of them, we have let's say, a 25-day age steak. He has some 60-day age steak for some, ultra premium restaurants. This is something that we could offer. They have a raw pet food line. May or may not be something that we can do, but how can we bring that as a home-based business? We have to pick and choose where we go, but it's amazing the offerings that we had. And this agility thing has been important too. They said, hey, a lot of folks are asking for fresh Thanksgiving turkeys. So we came up with an eco-friendly ice pack, and we sent out a ton of fresh Thanksgiving turkeys shipped the weekend before Thanksgiving, so people had it in their fridge all ready to go, never to thaw out. So,
You guys plan on doing other farms that does more than just meat?
good point. So we do have other farms coming on. The next one comes on in January. For now, we're going to stay focused on meats. We could expand elsewhere, but I think initially we're going to stay true to the meat for now.
So I see the farmer, I see the customer. Now, where's the processor? How does that, because you can't just, are you
That's
looking
right.
for farmers that already have their
So
processing?
yeah, and so you're right. So the protocols there are very important. So we will only allow USDA inspected facilities, which for now does put some of our farmers in a tough pinch because the one that we're bringing on in January, the closest USDA inspected facility is 75 miles from where he lives. And they're just building it into the cycle of when they take in animals, and they're just kind of trying to build it into their timing to work with that particular supplier. But we want to make sure that we know the inspector, that we've been able to be in there themselves. We've been into Slagle's, and Slagle owns their own processing facility, which is a huge perk. But we've been in there, you've been in there at least 2 or 3 times yourself.
2 or 3 times.
I've been in there a bit more and really get to know them. Something we're coming out with soon is even a video segment of Meet the Slagle team where we walk in, get to see how people take the orders, who's cutting your meat, really get to know them and kind of that end-to-end. That part is important. Brian?
So you're not currently handling Slagle's farm to restaurant supply chain?
No. Yeah, they have their own trucking, their own relationships, and at least for now, I don't see how we would add value there. So it'd be wonderful. It's not our focus.
We're focusing on
They're
the
already
retail.
boxing and labeling for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Right, and actually primarily for their restaurants and butcher shops, they're selling primals, big cuts, big chunks. So we actually had together with them come up with a more retail cut for things, and determine the right package sizing, and that was something we just had to adjust as we went.
Yeah. Right now, we're focusing on retail. And a lot of the stuff that's on the site right now is actually curated specifically for retail, like he said. Because most of the stuff they were shipping before, whole animals are a 4th or an 1/8. And we do offer that, actually. But we had to work on the retail cuts as well. So before they were shipping, maybe they weren't even shipping. They were driving the trucks full of meat once a week or once every 2 weeks. So this took a lot of that stress on the retail side out of it.
Yeah.
Just a couple generalities.
Yeah.
Your .com, congrats on getting that, because I know how hard that can be sometimes to source it. So seems like it's a really popular go-to name.
That's
for
Audi.
everybody wanting farm to table and everything like that. So that's a neat thing. And,
Thank you.
And what you said about calling Slagle first and them saying, we're not, maybe not knowing what you are, but then gradually forming that relationship through personal contact, that's so important.
Yeah.
And it's important to get past those first hurdles.
And the thing that we had to really learn with it is when we went to Slagle, was that probably the first time you've been to a farm?
I've been to a farm like on school field trips, but not like, Slagle's a very special type of farm. I don't think, when I first read the name Slagle and I read about them, I was not expecting what I saw. It was pretty cool. It was amazing. It was super neat, clean. It was perfect. It wasn't anything like what I thought that farm would be, or any farm around here. And
Yeah.
so.
Well, and also, just that face-to-face, get to meet them and their family, because it's a family business. I'm a farm kid myself. We had farrow to finish hog operation and some cattle. So you kind of understood the struggles and the problems that they were trying to solve. That personal relationship is really important. And I think we need to make sure as we grow to our other farmers, we need to do the same thing within a framework of how we operate, but it has to be a personal touch because we're helping them solve some problems that they have.
With available time.
I know, but this actually, I feel like we need to create that time because I think it's an important piece for us. Yeah.
Tell me more about your customers.
More about our customers. Yeah, we are continuing to craft that. What we're, it probably fits a profile of age. You and your friends are not buying.
Yeah, so right now the target is usually over the age of 25 or 26. So have any of you guys ever run a Facebook ad or something like that? Okay, so when we're doing that, it's usually top 30% of zip codes in the US that are like expressly targeted with expanded detail targeting. So people that fall in or like right out of the group. That's just our customers right now because we have a more premium offering. And originally, before we launched, I was running ad surveys and stuff for similar things, just trying to get results. And originally, I thought I targeted both genders with 2 different ads. And when the ad that I used for women versus men, the one for the women actually got the most clicks. So I used that one for men, and that exact ad got the exact same amount of clicks. So there's no like gender-based targeting because it's just ineffective. But it's age, income, and zip code.
But what we've noticed though so far for us is, it's 38 days in, and I would say we primarily, most of our sales, let's say of our sales, half are probably in the broader Peoria, Chicago sort of area. Actually, maybe 2/3 of the greater Peoria area. 1/3 is, dang it, I'm sorry, let's fix this again. Half in the Peoria area, 1/4 in Chicago area, and 1/4 of the rest of the country. Yeah. That's probably the best way to say it. So I think we're taking advantage of some, we'll call it local marketing and our own networks in some way through LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. I think we're capturing some of those. And Chicago seems to be capturing, probably because of Slagle's relationships there, that we're taking advantage of. And then we are getting some nationwide sales. We do know that, if you just reach enough people through, let's say, some Instagram influencer, if people see and enough people look at it, we have enough of a pull-through rate that we will get orders. But we need to make sure that we're narrowed in on specific either foodie types or people who are buying meal prep services or buying things that are competitors that are like certain boxes of home delivery meats and stuff that we need to center in on. So.
I have a question since you won't answer it at home.
Oh, okay.
I'll get here. So are you guys ever going to be open to a customer requesting a certain cut on the meat?
Yeah.
For example, chicken, I've asked him 100 times that instead of a whole chicken, would you be, is it possible to request a specific size of cuts for cut chicken, or is that not something you would do?
Okay, so.
And I say that because, there's a meat shop here in town and they will cut it to your request. So,
okay.
I mean, why would I order from you if I can get a different service right here in town?
Okay, so we've, so on the certain cuts, we actually do take a lot of special requests. If we're capable of doing it within the facility that we're in. So let's say for Slagle Family Farm and Fairbury Farms, they're working out at this one facility. They are USDA inspected and they're equipped to work with beef, pork, lamb, goat, chicken, turkey, rabbit, duck. But the poultry, they are butchering it and they are selling it in wholes. They don't break it down into small pieces. And they're really not equipped from a facility standpoint to break down your poultry. Whereas the beef, pork, lamb, and goat, they can take it down into small pieces. So as we bring on other farmers that might have some ability to break down the poultry into smaller pieces, we can. But if you are looking for something special, like a request a day or two ago for pork jowls, we don't have it on our site, we can check into it. We started to get some requests for even larger prime rib. We were selling like a 10-pound bone-in prime rib. Some people are looking for a 15-pounder, which is a beautiful piece of meat. So we can start offering those things. Some folks had just started asking for even thicker steaks. We were doing about 1 inch to 1.25 inches. Now we have 1.5 inches. These are things that we can adjust if we get a request for them. And we do love special requests.
So is it possible to drop ship to a butcher shop, a local butcher shop for the customer, and then have them pick it up at the local butcher shop, and basically a whole chicken to the butcher, and then the butcher basically adds their value and then repackages?
I think that's a capability that eventually we could add, but it would require to partnership with the butcher, because obviously we can't just like ship them a chicken without knowing and having a partnership. But it's a great idea, but we'd actually have to build the partnership in each locality. So if we get the request, we can try to set it up eventually at some time in the future, but right now I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Butcher shops have their inbound logistics or supply chain, right? You know,
Yep.
they don't go out
Yeah.
to the farm and
Right,
bring
right.
live animals in.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
they get shipped their meat products dressed, but not.
Yeah. That's okay. That's something we can investigate then. That's helpful. You know, on the whole restaurant piece, there is an opportunity. It just depends how much we want to pursue it. There are some restaurants that are vastly underserved by the food service companies that might be looking for special offerings. We are getting like a very special offering of goat that someone's asking for that we probably won't talk about much because it'll gross most of us out. But you know, there's many ways where we can still probably help in those things where, you know, we're not competing against a food service company, which we don't have the scale to compete against them.
So you talked about moving from the sort of
Sorry, there.
selling model to a marketplace model. Are you concerned that there could be an issue of a paradox of choice, meaning to say that faced with a multitude of choices, people may just visit your site and not be able to make a decision?
So, yeah, you've actually asked me that before, but I'll give the answer. So I think eventually when we shift to the marketplace, and this is in the future, this isn't in the next month or 2 months or even 6 months. It's one of the goals for a long time down the road. One way we stop that from happening is each farmer gets a separate profile, completely different branding on the site. I mean, every farmer is going to have a different feel. So if you go to the Slagle page on our farm versus the Fairbury Farms page, they're very different. One is more intricate, has more detail and things like that because that's the premium offering, and the other is more wholesale, you know, quarter beef, eighth beef, things like that. So it's a little bit more basic. So every farmer is going to have a different type of feel, and people also know their price point and what they're willing to spend. So as long as we can make it clear what the choices are, I think people will make the choice that's right for them if we can differentiate it well enough, which I think we can do.
And that's something we have to continue to learn, and how we make sure that we make it clear. You know, if we start to look at some of the competitive offerings that are out there today, they do seem really clear. It's like, well, you can either choose the beef box or the beef and pork box. Actually, that clarity is beautiful marketing-wise. But some people like to be able to pick and choose what they want as well, and we have the ability, we actually have the capability to do it, and I believe that others don't, which is why they do that. So it's kind of a choice we've made at this point in time, but we do need to make sure we stay focused on not confusing people with too many options.
So you offer the bundles, you know, the meat bundles. Are we able to switch out something and add something else in its place? If, for example, you have, let's say, pork in one of your bundles along with other meats, what if I wanted to take just those products out and add something else of similar value? Is that something you will consider doing later?
Yeah, I think, so yeah, you're right. So we do have pre-kitted bundles that we have available. We've tried to optimize those for like a box size, so you just max it out and you get like full shipping efficiency. But there are some things that we're able to substitute. I'd say just a little bit of a special request, and we could figure out how to really price it similarly and just swap it out. And for an order recently, being someone wanted a certain lead time, we swapped out something like lamb brats with like lamb shoulder chops, and they were happy, and it worked out for everybody.
And eventually, I think we're starting to work on how we can do subscriptions. That seems to be the key nowadays. You have to have a subscription service. So in all of our bundles, we're working on how we can do that. And we're even tossing around the idea of creating subscription-specific bundles, and maybe eventually in the future, you can custom make your own bundle based on the box size. So these are all things we're working on.
Yeah. Be good? Yes, sir.
For you, so you're 16 still. How are you not in school? Did this start as part of a school entrepreneurial project?
No, I'm in school.
Or you graduated from college already, or
No,
what did?
he's in school, and I just sent an email that he'll be in late today because he had a presentation here.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he's very much in
So
school.
after school and in the night, that's when I do this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in school.
Very good. That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and as a business partner with Audie, and we've had to make sure we talk with his parents as well, because we treat him like an adult, and we push him like an adult and a business partner. So there's times where I'm like, hey, shoot, he's only 16, but I'm like, no, you know what, we're digging in.
Yeah.
So, and it's worked. So, and before SourceTable, you know, Audie's built and created and run other businesses as well. So this isn't his first rodeo. So he's got a level of maturity that most 16-year-olds don't. And he's going to continue to learn and develop as he goes. Yeah.
How did you guys meet? I'm curious as your backstory before this.
Yeah.
So I was actually friends. I'm still friends with Keith's daughter, Claire, and I guess you probably told him some good stuff about me. So he called me to help tutor his son for like some computer stuff, and then the call kind of got off topic because it was like really exciting talking about like different ideas. And so he told me about this idea, and I said, "Oh, I would love to help." I wasn't really expecting being that excited about it, and then when I heard more about the idea, I was like, "Wow, this is super cool!" And now it's something that I'm extremely passionate about as well. So that's kind of how we met.
Yep. Just amazing how the paths cross that way.
I'm assuming you do this full time, and what did you do before this?
Actually, I have a full-time job with a large equipment manufacturer, and I'm a leader there. But I always believe in continuing to grow and develop. I have a farmland development and redevelopment business that I also do. I own and operate 400 acres of ground, and I'm just genuinely passionate about farming, actually. I mean, I grew up there. We watched our family go through the struggles. We were able to recover and thrive. My dad still farms to this day. And the way that I've been able to own and operate land is something my dad's actually been able to do as well. And now he owns and, well, he runs quite a bit more than me at this point in time. But it's amazing the things that we can take on. So this has been a little bit of a side passion that's become a whole lot more of a preoccupation, and it's been very fun. Yeah, thanks. What's that?
I said, I understand now, you have a background in farming, so.
Yeah, and I live it and I breathe it, and I understand. I see where we can really add value. This isn't about just trying to help ourselves to our customers. This is really what the industry needs. So, questions?
If there aren't any other questions, we just want to say thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story and your business. And one question that we like to ask all of our presenters at the very end of this session is, what can we as a community do to help you?
It's a great question. I think in Peoria we're lucky because we have groups like the EDC and Startup Greater Peoria and other things like that. So there's a pretty great support system. I know like Andrew, anytime I have a question or anything like that, I can also ask Andrew. So accessibility is a great benefit. So as long as we can keep the accessibility and having opportunities like this to talk with people, I think we'll be fine with the community support.
That's right. And for us, it's depending on the community for ideas and for business as well. So, one thing that we have put together it's a shameless plug, but I'm going to make it anyhow, is we have built out some holiday bundles that we've custom designed for businesses to buy for either employees or clients that, you know, it's really just like, instead of sending flowers or some fruit or something, we have these bundles that you order it now, and we, you know, custom send or custom curate a bundle and send it to someone's home or place of business on December 20th. It comes with a handwritten holiday card. It's a really nice touch, and it's getting meat from a local farmer, and you probably aren't getting a gift like that from anyone else. So it's gonna be all used. It won't be sitting on the counter where you don't eat it. So it's a nice little thing. So don't need you to order hundreds of them, although that would be awesome. But check out one. Get a sense of what we have, and then give us some feedback. And that feedback will continue to help us, you know, grow and develop as well. So thanks. Appreciate the opportunity.